Jesus Christ, what was week 12? Does anyone know? Or week 11? Sorry, not week 12. I'm getting ahead of. What was week 11? I don't know what it was because it's ruined a lot of things for everyone. This is the rundown. I am Tebbs. I'm joined by Dylan and Conor as always. Week 11. I don't understand. Why?
There's lots of
why.
Very like the NFL. I think there are a lot of fraudulent teams who are a bit, and there's a lot of good teams who have pushed themselves into kind of separate themselves this week.
Yes. So we're going to talk about a few, just because there's been a lot of big talking points before we get into our guest, which is head coach of the Bournemouth Uni Bobcats, Steve Rains. Be interesting to talk to him, especially after the loss last week to Exeter, to come back against Bristol and shut them out. But very interesting. We'll get into that. So the big talking points so far, obviously, we've got one that's near and dear to the heart of Dylan Jones here. Aberdeen beating Edinburgh Napier Knights for the second time, which propels the Heriot Watt Wolverines into Division 1. And we are now
Guys.
No, let me finish my speech. Let me finish it. And has ruined the Scottish Super Bowl. It's ruined it, which was going to be Napier Knights versus Heriot Watt, Super Bowl Sunday. Winner goes to Division 1. You've ruined it. You've just ruined it.
We've not ruined it. Don't blame me. You know what? I said I had a feeling Aberdeen would do it on the podcast last week, and for some reason you called me in despite the fact that I've seen them play twice now.
That's a good point. Yeah, good point. Yeah, but the problem is that we're still living. Me and Conor we're still living in the world of like last year's Edinburgh Napier Knights of being this absolute dominant force.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, I still really like Edinburgh Napier Knights. In fact, I might pick them against. No, I'm not going to pick them against you. I can't do that to myself. But even still, I'm still shocked about it. So, sort of, Dylan, how are you feeling? How's the head? I know you were out last night.
Honestly,
because it was your birthday. Everyone in the chat say happy birthday to Dylan. Don't say happy birthday.
My birthday was the third best thing to happen yesterday. First was us winning the league. Second was Wrexham pulling off a draw against Sheffield, and then the birthday came after that. But everyone was out last night. We kept it reasonably modest at Peffermill, and then went to town, and such a good day. It was a shame, obviously. As I say, I'd have loved to have that Super Bowl Sunday game and have the big event of it, and it still will be a big event, and we're going ahead of it. But there's also, I think it was 6:30.
Now walk it over, make it funny, walk it over.
I think
have it for banter.
I don't know what happened, but they Napier lost 2 QBs as well, which was a shame, I think, in the third quarter. Ooh. But then went to Wildcat and actually scored their only points of the day. But it was, great news for us.
So let's talk about the big thing that you sent me. The score obviously is one thing. However, I was informed by you that a pick six occurred for the Bulls, and it was cool. And it went into, obviously, pick six went into the end zone. It got called back because someone griddied into the end zone with the ball.
Griddy. I swear to God.
Oh my God.
It was a fumble recovery. I think it was one of the D line.
Okay.
And he's gone. Somebody's hit the quarterback, dropped the ball, picked it up, and he's gone running. And it was the 2-yard line. And he started griddying. And then they threw a flag. Tears. It's like worse than Gesicki, worse than Jalen Hurts, worst griddy you've ever seen.
Honestly, Gesicki's
penalty. It was back to the 17, and they did score that drive because, oh my God. The thing is, we were speaking to him after. I'll try and find the video, and they had the lad doing it on the bus, bless him. But
honestly, topped it. You didn't tell me it was a D lineman, because I think that makes the story better.
Yeah. But, and he was going for it, but it was the silence on their sideline.
Top tier Uniball. So to move on to a more impressive thing that sort of flew under the radar a little bit. Nottingham Gold, obviously Prem side, very good. They're, in my rankings, they're ranked number 2. They beat Leeds Beckett last week or the week before. They played. Hold on, sorry, we're getting conflicting reports that it was in fact one of the linebackers from Ethan Wilson.
I can't read the game very well. I'm only a cheerleader, as we know.
Through that. Nottingham Gold, they played 2 games in 3 days, and also 2 shutouts, beating Durham, and beating the Stirling Klansmen, or beating Durham 28-0 and beating Stirling 68-0. I feel like that's just a testament to sort of like obviously the mass of the squad, but also just sort of the caliber of the athletes on Nottingham Gold. Like that's amazing, you know. Just
it is. I mean, so from my understanding, they went up, planned it all, because obviously the schedules and the way that the schedule works is that week that I think it's the Wednesday of that week your fixtures have to be done by. It's not the Saturday like I thought. So it's got to be done by Wednesday the 15th. So they've not had space. Their SU for whatever reason won't let them play Wednesday games. And they've gone and they've planned it, and they've had the SUs back in. They've stayed in hotels in Edinburgh and essentially have made a mini tour out of it. And fair play to them. My only question, and this is purely one for if somebody out there can clarify this. I thought you had to have 48 hours break between the end of one game and the start of the next.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because Coach Steve Rains was he was vocal about the Uniball All Stars being on a Saturday, whilst there were senior games on a Sunday, and there was no sort of legislation put in place for the players to play both. So honestly, that is probably a question for Coach Rains when he comes on. But just very good for Nottingham Gold. Just amazing.
Yeah.
If you see their hopefully they've like archived some of their Instagram story, because it was very funny. They had someone take over the Instagram and answering questions. Very good. And then sort of the third one, we're not going to get into all the ties because there was a lot. We might do a little bit. Bradford Bears. What are you doing?
Where did that come from?
Oh, where? Oh, honestly, when I saw it come in, I was like, because they didn't just send me Bradford. Oh, here we are. Ash. Oh,
36.
I don't know who this man's. 36 hours. Okay,
whose idea was 36? What was that? What would you even have to do? Like finish a game at
like
8 a.m. and start
and then
up at 8 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, coach, don't be running on my stream telling things. But yeah, so Bradford didn't just send me the score like they'll just send the score in a message. They sent me a graphic, and I was like, no. 100? No. Like, it happens sometimes in the senior level. Like, I remember Lee Miners, I believe, I forget who they lost to, but I believe it was 112-0, if I recall correctly.
Was that not Titans during the COVID year?
I believe it was during the COVID year. Very well could have been Titans. But yeah, it doesn't happen much with Uniball, specifically because Chester Romans. Thank you, Chris Breen. Chris Breen, what a guy! What a guy! What a guy! Love him. Because of the 12-minute quarters, it seems sort of not tangible. I did reach out to Bradford, and they were like every first or second play resulted in a touchdown, and they were getting the ball back on the 1 yard line, to the point where this is obviously they haven't said this for definite, that they were 46-0 up. They think they were 46-0 up in quarter one, which I don't know. I mean,
so the mercy rule kick in, then?
Yeah.
It has to have done, yeah. So you got, but it doesn't kick in until halftime.
Conor, as a coach, what do you say? Your halftime speech in that game?
What for Bangor or for Bradford?
Yeah.
Listen, it's hard, man. Like that's hard, and we've been in I've been in situations. You've just got to try and get them to keep going. Like, yeah, there's nothing more you can.
Don't let them put 3 digits on us.
You keep them as positive as you can, and you say you stick to your script, you stick to your game plan, and you just. There's nothing else you can say. It's tough. Like I really feel for them, and I feel for the players and the coaches, and
because it's one of those things where I've seen people say like, oh, like in the comments of our post, like, oh, they can't have been competing until the end. It's like if you're already that far down at half time, to continue to play the game. Like that is admirable.
Yeah,
And
massively.
I don't. For me, like I guess it's just the way that I play. I don't get this. I think, oh, they should have just packed it in. It's like,
yeah.
no, personally, no. It's like you are there to play the game. Like Aaron Taylor, exactly what I'm saying. Exactly what I'm saying.
Well,
like
this is the thing. That Bangor have been a team like they last year midway through the season they had to fold and they really struggled and they got put on notice by Bucks and Bafa and their own university. The program did because of the walkovers and because of not fulfilling fixtures and even issues with their home ground and having to play home games in Liverpool and things like that. Like they had to do all of that. And this year they fulfilled their fixtures, and they haven't. As far as I know, they haven't given any walkovers, and they're doing it, and they're also flying the flag for women in Uniball as well, from what I know. So,
shout out Girls Gridiron, love it. I bet chill. To be fair, there is a lot. There is, to be fair, there is a lot of women in Uniball. I know that there's a couple at Liverpool as well. And to be fair, Gloucestershire's got a couple as well. And obviously, Dylan's coached by Lindsay Llewellyn and Moody, who are national champions last year. So yeah, there you go. Just a small tangent there. So,
sorry.
No. Don't say sorry. No, it's a good tangent. If you were going off about something else, then I would have said no. Shut up. Another thing. So this has been a week, ladies and gentlemen. Like Dylan, I think Dylan's cursed the league, ladies and gentlemen, because he's the first person to predict the tie on this, and it was. And I'm sorry, but it was a stupid decision because Aberystwyth have been getting better throughout the season, and just because they've tied 2 games does not mean they're going to tie again. But he's cursed the league because this week there's been a fair few ties. Manchester Tyrants, Sheffield Sabres. Didn't someone come in? For me, Manchester, I had them. I had a gut feeling in my preseason report. I put them. They're the only team which I very much did fully based on feeling. It could just be that I was still in the fervour of Manchester Titans winning the senior season, but it was something else. So Manchester Tyrants versus Sheffield Sabres, I believe 14-14.
18-18.
Conor, 18-18. Winchester versus Chichester, 14-14. And I'm trying to see, because I need to go through the banner, because they're the only place I've got them written down, because... And I mean this, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, let's talk about Edge Hill U-Clan. Yeah, let's talk about Edge Hill U-Clan. What? What? Edge Hill U-Clan? I mean, fair enough there to Edge Hill. I've got a friend who's a coach at Edge Hill, and when she messaged me that, I was like, "What is this? Is this half time?" She's like, "No, full time." I'm like, "That's a result for Edge Hill." 100% result.
Yeah.
It's like Edge Hill, they're sort of within that North thing. It's sort of Edge Hill they've been getting better, but like UClan were, as we sort of said, sort of very, feel like prematurely. Obviously now that Bradford have done the 100-pointer, that like the last big game in the Div 2 North is going to be Liverpool versus UClan. Liverpool overcome them, and then UClan ties Edge Hill. There's something there. There's something. I feel like there's something that I'm missing.
I don't know. You don't know what the ins and outs of it are, but yeah, they've done like fair play to them. They've. I think from what I've understood, from what I've seen from a few of the players' Instagrams and stuff, Edge Hill had a big defensive performance, a couple of takeaways, at least one big run back pick. Big run back pick from one of their corners. And
I'd be begrudged, Conor. I'd be begrudged to say one of the bigger results, though not finishing in a victory for a team. One of the bigger results of this week for me Sheffield Hallam versus MMU. What was it? 21-28?
21-28.
21-28. Now, that's big because Hallam are the team in that division. MMU have not. Sorry, Con. I feel like I've got to put earplugs in for this. MMU haven't won a game. It wasn't looking good for MMU. But that in there, that's a result. Can you just fill me in on a little bit? Don't get too. If it hurts too much, because it is the day after. But I want to know about it. I want to know about it.
It really, really stings. Again, the credit has to go to Hallam. They're a good outfit. They're a big outfit. They've got similar numbers of coaches to what we have, like starters type thing. They've got a really good side. And they came out firing. They took a 14-0 lead. We pulled one back, and then they went up on the last drive just before halftime. But we've been moving the ball, and we went for it on a fourth down, didn't get it, and midway through, and that was fine. So it went to the half 21-7, but didn't feel like 21-7, and we knew it couldn't be 21-7, or it could be very easily a different game, and we just tried to play our game. And the guys, to be fair to them, they played their heart out genuinely. Like I've sung their praises to everybody I've spoken to. They could not have played any harder. And yeah, into the second half, got the ball, drove down, scored, botched punt from Hallam the next drive, and we go down and it's 21-0 going into the fourth. And we had 4.5 minutes to go, 4th and 2, and we just didn't pick it up. And so they had a big. The QB's got a really good arm. A great
he has
pass.
Dan Johnson, QB for Hallam. Once again, I will say this: he is still probably my favourite Uniball quarterback. I will say that all the time. I actually know the QB for the Gloucester Gladiators is good as well. But even still, it's. I'll put it like this: it has changed my opinion about the game next week for the MMU Eagles, but we will move on to that once we get into the preview. So brilliant, thanks. Well done, Dylan. Dylan, hold on a second. Sorry, Coach Range. Coach Range waiting. Dylan, you're not my favourite quarterback in Uniball.
Yeah, no, that's why I picked that up. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, you're. I would have had to have seen you play first. I've not seen that. And I've said because he's invited me up to Edinburgh to watch him versus not him, versus Harriet versus Napier, but on Super Bowl Sunday. I'm not going to do that. One, I've got a game to play, and two, I want to because if I don't have a stable location for my bed, it's done. Because I will
harder all of a sudden.
I will not be able to. Sorry, it's not the. Yeah, it's your fault. Don't bring it up in the private chat. Then private chat gets leaked here on them. Don't do that. So we're going to move on now to our interview. At the start of the season, I tucked myself away in solitude to write a big old article encompassing every university team and where I thought they would rank. Bournemouth Uni Bobcats, very impressive season in the Div 2 Southwest last year, got promoted. I had them, I believe it was along the lines of, I don't think Bournemouth are going to go down, but I can't see them making any impact this season. Oh, how wrong I was. And our guest coming on just now, he's made me very aware of the fact that I am wrong. So please welcome, audience, Conor, Dylan, Coach Steve Rains of the Bournemouth Uni Bobcats. Hello, Coach. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
I know that I'm about to get grilled, so I'm not feeling great. I know that I'm not feeling fantastic.
Not at all. You did what any reasonable person would have done, to be fair, because I don't think anyone, maybe outside of ourselves, expected us to make an impact. Yeah.
It's
And for us, it was about, okay, we need to establish ourselves in Division 1 and, work as hard as we did last year and see how things turned out. There were no bad teams in our division, and it's really competitive and will be, I'm sure, right to the end of the season.
so obviously this is where it gets sort of strained a bit, because last week suffered the first loss of the campaign. Like, we will obviously get onto the successes, but it would be hard pressed for me not to touch on something that's happened relatively recently. How has your team been able to sort of cope with that loss? Because as you've stated in your social media post, I believe it's 1,134 days. Don't quote me on that. Since Bournemouth suffered their last loss. So, sort of, how were the coaches? How was yourself able to sort of how did the players react, and how did you sort of manage suffering the first loss in more than 1,100 days?
Yeah, interesting. I mean, obviously, the first loss for me at BU, because I started there last year in Division 2, and we went undefeated through the season. So, and for a lot of our players who were first years last year, they had never lost a game. So, yeah, it's a shock. And the good news is they didn't like it very much. So they found out what losing is, and they decided that actually winning is a lot more fun. So, yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I sat down after the game and listed out 12 reasons why I thought we lost. I mean, as it was a narrow loss, 22-20, and with one or two things going a different way, it might have gone a different way. But all credit to Exeter; they played really well. If you remember in your big document at the beginning of the season, they were your favourites for the division.
They certainly were.
They're certainly finding their feet, and they played really well last week. And I think they will be a threat to whoever I think they'll make the playoffs, and they'll be a threat to whoever they meet. So, so not a great week for us. The important thing was now pick ourselves up and try and get things back on track. So we had some serious conversations with the group. But the one thing I've been so pleased with in my time at BU is the motivation that comes from within the squad, from the players themselves. So they sat down and had a chat to each other about, okay, here's coach's list of 12 things why we lost. Now, 11 of those we can fix ourselves. The one that couldn't be fixed, I'm not going to go into great detail about, but there was one bad refereeing call, really bad. But you can't, you have to legislate for that. We shouldn't be in a position where one bad call makes a difference in a game.
And obviously, to then come back and then definitely sort of, in case there were people out there, I will say, me not included, I wasn't part of this, who thought that maybe Bournemouth were on the slide.
I know, Dylan. I see you, Dylan, up there in the right.
Dylan's here. He knows.
I was listening to you last week, and all your umming and ahhing, right? So
listen, I've had a love affair with the Barracudas this year, and it's been an up and down relationship, and yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
Coach.
It's okay. Hey, listen. Any inspiration we can get, we'll take that.
Are you thinking the end goal for you this year is the Prem then? Is that what you're looking for?
Oh, that's a good question.
Do I think what? Sorry.
The end goal for this season's the Prem.
No, I mean, if it was to happen, that would be amazing, truly amazing. I think but no, the end goal is to approach every game the way we approach every other game, and that is we focus on trying to win next week. So for us now, it's Swansea on Sunday, and then we'll see where the season takes us. But I think that thinking about Premier Division is very ambitious for us. We're a very young program with a lot of inexperience in the team, but we'll just see where it takes us. There are some good teams in Division 1 South.
and sort of that's where I want to get into, because for me the Prem North, it's very much easy to see who the top teams are. The South is very much different, maybe with the exception of Hertfordshire. Sorry, Plymouth, but Hertfordshire are really well. When it comes to playoffs, is there like a specific team that you don't want to see, or is there a specific team that you do want to meet, just so you can have that experience and teach the very much the young nucleus of the team from an established program?
I think the most important thing for us is trying to achieve a situation where whoever we meet them at home for as long as possible. We spent the whole of the playoffs in Division 2 on the road. So we went to, we played UE2 at home, and then we went to Kent and we went to Greenwich for the final. So we'd like to play more playoff stuff at home. I mean, the fact that we're making the playoffs, most probably, it's not absolutely guaranteed, is a real achievement. And if we could play at home, that would be perfect, because we get great support at home. Having said that, our alumni travel as well. I think we had more people at the Greenwich final than Greenwich did. So we get good support, but that would be the aim. In terms of any of those teams that have been there in the Prem before are obviously going to be tough, because if the players there this year don't have the experience, the program has the experience. This is the first time out of Division 2 for BU.
So this question may not sort of, because I sort of know how you operate, and I know I may not get an answer on this one, because it is sort of a divisive question. Obviously, Swansea have come into the Div 1 Southwest, in the very much opposite way that you have. Are you? Because I for one am surprised that they are on. I think it's maybe certain. I need to check to see what Southampton did. I think it is certain.
I think they're in real trouble. I think they're 0-5 at the moment, and the next team has certainly got 3 wins. So if they lose this weekend against us, then you're right, they're heading down. But I mean, you guys have been around Uniball probably more than me, because I did a stint in the 2000s at Surrey as the offensive coordinator, and then since then I've been staying warm in the winter, and then I got talked into doing Bournemouth last year, and I found out just how cold it is and remembered why I'd been avoiding it all that time. But I'm loving it. Having said that, I'm loving it. You know how it is, though. You get a team, you build a team, and then they all graduate, and suddenly you don't have a team anymore, and you could be then at a level that you can't cope with all of the new people. And I think COVID put a lot of teams into a difficult situation with sort of like a double year of graduation. So, I think, it's unfortunate for Swansea, but I'm sure they'll bounce back, because it's been a good program in the past. I know that they've had a coaching change this year, and I wish them all the best, apart from on Sunday, obviously.
Of course. Just to go back to, obviously you guys looked like you were rolling, you were doing really well. You come up against that loss. What, as a coaching staff and as a head coach, what, if anything, do you change with your preparation the week after? Or do you just go about your business?
So, I'm not going to deny the fact that there might have been some complacency in terms of we got comfortable with the way we were doing things. And as I said, Conor, what I did after the result was, there was a really big refereeing decision that made a big difference, or made a difference. And it would be easy to blame the loss on that decision. But I sat down and thought about, that decision would have changed that circumstance. Basically, without going into too much detail, because I don't really want to go there, we scored a safety to tie the score, and it was taken off, and the film shows that it should not have been taken off. And that would have potentially made a difference towards the end. But who knows? We might have then thrown an interception, fumbled. Exeter were playing really well. But what I did do was list out what else I thought were the issues. And there were 12 things, and 11 of them were completely within our remit to fix in terms of coaches' preparation, players' preparation, players' attitude, which has been generally really good at BU. But we just had a little post-Christmas, I've got exams and a little bit of a knock, and maybe not everyone training when they should be. So, and the committee, in fairness, have addressed that. And, I'd like to think we're on the way to being back to where we were before Christmas.
Yeah, it's fair. It's a hard one, isn't it? Especially when those decisions don't go your way, and you can feel hard done by. But you're right. It's a case of you don't try and do your best not to put yourselves in the position where you need them.
Yeah, I mean,
and
basically, we had an awful third quarter, and went from leading 12-6 at half time, 12-8 at half time, to being 20-12, 22-12 behind. So, was not all about one refereeing decision. That came after that situation. We'd already put ourselves in a hole.
Yeah, it's fair.
So sort of outside the sort of remit of the regular season, there's issues going on that are sort of outside of any sort of head coach's control in terms of the Uniball All-Star game. Just what are your thoughts on the potential loss of that as something for people to strive towards, especially considering that Alfie Burks, Bournemouth Bobcat player, won the MVP for that game last year?
Yeah, I mean, I think Bucks and Baffa need to recognise that they lit a fire last year by bringing that game back, and there's a huge amount of enthusiasm for it. We've had players from opposing teams contacting us saying, "Oh, our university didn't film this. Could you give me the clip where I did something good against you?" And we've provided those because I want to try for All Stars. So I think whoever's now responsible should be trying to do everything they can to get the game to happen. I mean, I contacted Bucks about it, and I've contacted Dave Hagger at Football America, who helped to put the game on. And certainly Dave Hagger wants the game to happen. Now, it's a well-known fact that I was involved in a group that were unhappy about when the game was played last year, because it's played on the first weekend of the Baffa senior season. And Baffa made a decision which I still think is pretty awful, that people could play in the All-Star game on the Saturday and then play in their first Baffa game on the Sunday. So 2 games within 24 hours. That's not allowed in any other competition I know of. So, I think separating it from the Baffa season is important, but that's pretty much easy enough to do because university games can happen midweek. So, and I know there were things about coaches working and all that sort of stuff, but I'm sure, getting a single day off is not too difficult. Easy for me to say because I'm retired and every day's not a work day for me. So.
It's easier when you're retired or when you're self-employed like me. It's very easy to get time off. It's very difficult if you're not. Just to pick up on that, I think I think it's a great loss just as an off the bat. If we do lose it, I think it's a massive loss. Certainly, like you as coaches, I've got guys who were hounding me for film and for measurables and things like that last year to get them to the to trials and to push on. and to lose that drive for something would really, really suck. Do you think it's kind of a case of one man drove it with the backing of another in Football America, and now that he's done, nobody really knows who's left, and it just needs somebody to go, right, I'm going to take it, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way that one person stepping away from it should bring it to an end. I mean, there are plenty of people involved in British American football, plenty of people involved in university football. There's no reason why it can't be done just because one person is, for whatever reason, I don't know, is not able to do it anymore.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like that. It's a shame. It is a real shame.
I mean, I hope it happens. So, we'll just have to wait and see.
Fingers crossed.
In the meantime, I'm taking the Thrashers to Iceland, so we'll be having some fun.
Nice.
We'll be having some fun just after the end of the uni season.
Just to,
I was going to say, go on, Conor. Go on, for you.
I was just going to add on that. You obviously you have a lot to do with. You've already said you've got a lot to do with the adult ball season. How important do you think Uniball is for you as your senior ball as a program to introduce guys to the sport that you can then pull through?
I mean, absolutely vital. I mean, for me, there's no question that the major entry route into British American football right now is university football. I'm really old, so back in the old days, there were youth and junior teams playing 11 on 11, and lots of kids coming in the under 19 leagues. There were teams all over the country. Now, not so much. University is definitely the entry level. And in terms of, say, at BU, the vast majority of our team have not played before they come to university. So it's their first time playing. And then we encourage them to go, we did last year, we encouraged them to go and play senior ball in the summer to make them better and also to support senior ball. And in terms of the Thrashers, we're fortunate. We've got coaches at BU, Bournemouth University, at Solent, Redhawks, at Portsmouth Destroyers, at Winchester Silverbacks, and I think we've got one or two other player coaches elsewhere as well. So, and that's an important recruitment channel for us in terms of the Thrashers as well.
So sort of as we sort of wind down before we get into the preview where us three just shout at each other. When I had you on last time, because I had you on last season as well. What have you sort of learned, and what are the differences between coaching senior ball and uni ball now that you've had an extra year of experience, and also now that you've upped the division as well? Yeah,
well, the first thing I learned was it's cold in the winter, so that was an important reminder. The other thing is that the enthusiasm of student players has got me working harder than I've worked in football for probably ever, because we do 4 sessions a week for BU. And that's incredible, and it's great for the fact that we're taking the players up this learning, constantly taking them up this learning curve. So, but I also have learned that it's a lot of fun, and you get a lot out of it in terms of the feedback and the support that we have from our university. We're a performance sport at BU, so we get supported by the university, and that's tremendous, and it makes life a whole lot easier than it is in the adult league, where you're pretty much you rely entirely on subs from players and maybe the odd bit of sponsorship if you're lucky.
So I'll just open it up. Conor, Dylan, have you got anything else?
No, I was inspired. I won't pick against you again. Apologies. I know.
Hey, listen, you pick whoever you think it may. There may come a time where it's sensible to pick against us, but
I'm going to go on a limb and say Hertfordshire, Bournemouth decides the Prem team in the South next year.
Do you mean next year or this year?
Yeah, Prem team for year coming
this year.
You're just saying that because Coach Rains is on, aren't you?
No, genuinely. I've been having a look, and that's what I'm thinking for my sort of Premiership prediction, and then winner. I'm going to say plays.
You're trying to get scouted, aren't you? Well, you're trying to get scouted. Don't do it because Coach Rains will scout you if you're good enough. Don't you?
I recruit everybody as well, so it's a matter of when you
get. Yeah, sometimes just quarterbacks.
I do remember getting a message off Coach Rains being like, "Have you thought about Bournemouth?" And it's like, well, yes, but
good hairdressers there.
But yeah, oh mate, don't. My hair's shambolic, but we'll get to that.
That today.
I have one more thing, Coach, just to give your staff a quick kind of mention, and it's such a big part of everything we do is the guys behind the scenes. So walk us through them and give them a quick shout out.
Okay, yeah. So I'm going to obviously concentrate just on BU because I've got good people at the Thrashers as well. But
of course.
At BU, Jason Walker, who's been with BU for some time, is the defensive coordinator. He was previously at the Solent Thrashers before I was. Then our linebackers coach is Steve Key, who was previously at the London Warriors and KCL, I think. And then we've got defensive backs is Kieran O'Sullivan, who again has been with BU and with the Bournemouth Senior Bobcats for some time. My defensive line coach is Matt Clarkson, who played for the Bournemouth Senior Bobcats and then started coaching with us last year, and his whole coaching career has taken off. He's coaching with Bournemouth Senior Bobcats and the Army, and seems every time I open Facebook he's on another coaching staff, but he's still doing great work for us. My offensive line coach is Mike Purdom, who also coaches with me, played for me at the Farnham Knights and coaches with me at the Solent Thrashers. Also with the offensive line is Harry Tebbs. He was a Portsmouth University offensive lineman, player and coach at the Bournemouth Senior Bobcats, and Tebbs coaches for us as well. Then my running backs coach is Luke Clark, who was one-time chairman of Hertfordshire Cheetahs, played for the Cheetahs against me, and is a great coach and coaches running backs for me. My wide receivers coach is Alex Murley, who was a player at the Senior Bobcats and then was coaching at BU when I first went there. I took him on, and now he's come over and he's also coaching at the Solent Thrashers for me. So great guy. And then I've got Mike Woolnough, who is a referee. Some people will know him as, but he's also coached for me at the Solent Thrashers and still does. And he's our special teams coach at BU. And I hope I haven't. Oh, yeah, no, sorry. Quarterbacks coach is Billy Coe, who was a long-time player back in the day when I was first around football. He played for the Bournemouth Bobcats back in those days. And Billy's been coaching at BU for some time and coaches our quarterbacks. And then we've got Luke Marder, who was a coach, was a quarterback at BU, came to be a quarterback for me at the Thrashers, and it was Luke and TT, John Alex Gias, who talked me into taking up coaching at BU, and Luke's still helping us with Elfie and Khan and Brad Duff at BU.
So we've got them to blame for you having to freeze your backside off on a Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. But I get a lot of help and stuff, so it's all good. Yeah.
Good stuff.
And then we've got great people like Chris Cooper, our photographer, and various other people that are around and help us out. And I've probably forgotten someone because I'm getting old and forgetful. I should probably have a quick look at a picture on my Facebook and just see if there's anyone there that I haven't mentioned, which would be awful.
Now, could you talk us through all the players?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Possibly.
For
There are a lot of them.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's what. No, we're not doing a player roll call. I'll put my foot down.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of good guys playing for us as well, but I won't go into all of that. So.
Just your favourite 17.
Yeah,
No,
Dylan. It's like
Dylan.
it's like children. You can't choose your favourites. So yeah.
And a classic media answer from Coach Rains there, which I love. But definitely
BBC trained Tebbs. That's the thing. So.
BB. That's the thing. That's the thing. Do say hello to Hayden for me.
I will. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's playing really well this year, I have to say. So.
Do you know what really bothers me about Hayden, coach, is that I forget how tall he is. I forget, but I see a picture of him, and I'm like, I forget that you're like actually massive. But yeah, basically, Dylan, Hayden, you're basically Hayden's replacement. So just bear that in mind every time you're on the show.
You're just taking a foot off, and
yeah, basically that's what happened. But yeah, Coach Rains, definitely good luck for the rest of the season. Thank you very much for coming on, and definitely good luck for the playoffs. I do hope. It's strange because I do hope and I don't hope that I'll be able to come to a Bournemouth game, because I have got to play football. And last week I was told that they weren't too impressed when I said I'm 50-50 on playoffs. They weren't very happy with that, so I'll play if I make the playoffs. I'll play every game. Gloucestershire coaches.
Good luck to you. Good luck to you with that.
Cool. Thank you very much.
That's a good story, that turnaround too.
It is, and it makes it exceptionally difficult when we give out year-end awards that I have to now I have to contemplate if the season goes spectacularly. I have to contemplate giving it to myself, which I genuinely
I'm sure Dylan and Conor will help you with that.
Oh, I've already had to sublet my pick for Div 2 if our coach goes. So, and like this is the problem, is like I say that and then I get the influx of the coaches from Gloucestershire telling me that that's what I'm doing. But obviously coaches from Gloucestershire do thank you, but yeah, very much congratulations on making the post, and congratulations on defying my expectations. Spectacular job, and I really do look forward to see what Bournemouth do from here. Whether it's the Prem this year, I can't imagine that a Premiership Bournemouth Uni Bobcats is too far out of reach for you and your squad. So yeah, just thank you very much for coming on.
Okay, you're welcome. It's a pleasure to come on, as always.
Cheers, coach.
Cheers. Yeah.
Cool.
No.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen,
match, MMU.
No, stop trying to pick fights. This is where it's the nonsense part of the show. Thank you very much to the coach. Honestly, we're getting more professional with each interview. And you see this, ladies and gentlemen. My knock on wood, my Wi-Fi's not collapsed yet, because I mean this. Instead of doing the show, I've missed out on going out with my roommates for a carvery. Can you believe that? Unbelievable stuff.
Social engagement this week.
Oh yeah, no, I only have one, and I'll preface this: the rankings aren't out yet because I played football yesterday, so I didn't want to do it late at night because I wanted to go to sleep, and then I had work this morning. They'll be out tomorrow.
Excited.
And also, he's having an internal dilemma about where to put himself. So,
no, I am. That is true. And
You
also,
said you reckoned
Lindsay,
you'd be every Div 2 team in the country earlier.
shut the fuck up, Dylan. Shut the fuck up. I did not say that. You absolute donut.
Dylan, like, surely you
and
learned. We're in week 12, 11 by now. Surely you've learned not to poke the fucking bear by now.
He's you know what? He
No,
did it with a
shut the
QB
fuck-
comment earlier. This isn't me. This is on him.
You aren't my favourite quarterback in the league.
Yeah, you open the door.
Okay, so we're going to touch on a few comments. So this is from Sam. This is from SJ,
Yeah,
who is coming on the show next week. Can you explain why you picked QMBL?
It's just on me. I liked an upset. I thought, like, I like doing it wrong. I like Brunel, but I thought that division, given some of the weirdness going on with that division here and there, that there was a potential for an upset, and I'd wear that one. And you're right, SJ. I'm sorry.
There we go. Well, you can approach him in person next week when he's on here, because next week, people who are watching, SJ is going to come on and give like a playoff bracket prediction. Because let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, I'm good at speaking nonsense, but when it comes to the maths, when it comes to the minutiae and the matrix and the numbers flicking past my face, that is picking people who are going to be in the playoffs based on the things that make playoff teams, because I don't know what they are, because I don't know if it's points against, goal difference, the amount of walkovers, all of that. I mean this. I don't know, and it's difficult to understand.
I can walk you through it, because it's been my like entire days been going through it all
next week.
So
next week, because next week, because that's going to be the main premise of the show. Though we do have a guest next week, because the Aberdeen Bulls have ruined my plans. We had the OC of we're having the OC of Harriet Watt on. We're still going to be a good conversation, but he has ruined it a bit, because I wanted to be like, this is the Scottish Super Bowl, but you've ruined it. So
for that.
So Callum, I know you were watching earlier. I'm not going to boot you off, but take the hint. No, I'm joking. So we're going to get into the games for this week. I won't lie, ladies and gentlemen, the slate isn't great. There's not a lot of game stuff on the line. We have picked out the game of the week already, but that's still the case. I'm sure that the teams who are playing are very much not in the case. So we're going to go through them. Nice and simple. So in the Prem, we got a rematch, ladies and gentlemen, a big rematch, a rematch so big that it's got its own title. It's not quite the Scottish Super Bowl. It's Implosion. It's Cardiff Cobra's Implosion. No food, no fireworks, just fun, just a fun day out with the lads.
Cardiff Snake Charmage.
That's it. Not featuring the Cardiff Snake Charmers. You had Explosion. You now have Implosion. That is going to be one of the Prem games. I love it. I do love Cardiff Cobras. Leeds Beckett versus Newcastle. Sheffield versus MMU. Coventry versus NTU. Leeds versus Northumbria. Manchester versus LJMU. MBL versus Kent. Glasgow versus Hull. Oxford versus Royal Holloway. Portsmouth versus Hertfordshire. Loughborough versus Staffordshire. Essex versus Imperial. York versus in Div 2. UCLan versus York. Leicester versus DMU in a Leicester derby. UCL versus UEL. York St John versus Edge Hill. Liverpool versus Bradford. UWS versus Aberdeen. Surrey versus Chichester. Derby versus Lincoln. Kingston versus Canterbury. Gloucestershire versus Worcester. And OBU versus Brighton. We're going to go through the picks, but just before we do that, we're going to call out what we've got for the game of the week. And you've got to think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Not every day, not every season do we see a 100-point game. The Liverpool Raptors, it's theirs. Like, it is theirs now. They have done it. But it's a big old challenge, because this week the momentum of the Bradford Bears, will it take them far? Because the game of the week this week is the 5-0 Liverpool Raptors versus the 4-1-1 Bradford Bears. We're going to give our picks for this one right now. Who have you got? I love Bradford. It's Liverpool.
See, I am picking Liverpool, but if that coaching staff have any nous, they have a chance to do something that no other Uniball team has ever done. And that is win back-to-back Division 2 playoff titles.
I thought you were about to say 100-point games.
No. Because of the way that it works,
That'd have been so outrageous.
no one's done it before.
So, but apparently, I've missed out on a few games because I don't know. I use the Sport Tech website. Sometimes it's not there, especially with rescheduled games. We've also got Reading versus Solent. Reading have a chance to punch that ticket up to Division 1, but you have to think Solent Redhawks have been flying under the radar as far as I'm concerned. They are a good squad. They have been giving me a lot of internal conflict this week because the Div 1 and Div 2 rankings are a top 10 this week. It's very difficult, and Solent are figuring their way into my brain, and I can't get them out of it. And also Coach Rains, Swansea versus Bournemouth. We will obviously go for those as well. But from the top, implosion, Cardiff versus Birmingham. Who have you got?
I'd love to
Because
say
I know who I've got.
It was a tight game against Birmingham.
It was.
Wasn't that tight?
No, I was there.
Nah, if you watched
and it was
it,
tighter than I was there, and it was tighter than it should have been. I like the Birmingham Lions.
Yeah,
However,
still don't like the Lions.
However,
should we do something
I am
stupid, Tebbs?
picking. I'm picking Cardiff. I'm picking
Yeah.
Cardiff. I've got.
I'm going to join you. I'm a believer.
I'm picking Cardiff. We're gonna look like idiots. 2 picks for Cardiff.
Oh,
Oof.
definitely.
Oh, and I will say, ladies and gentlemen, the show after the show after the Super Bowl. So, by the way, the show after the Super Bowl, we're not doing it on the Monday because we will all be hungover. No, Tuesday we're not doing it because it's Valentine's Day, and these two have got people that they love and stuff. I don't. But it'd be rude of me to make them work on Valentine's Day. So that show is going to be on the 15th of February. On the 15th of February, we've got Leeds Griffins. The show after that next Monday, will be special guest will be the Cardiff Cobras.
Here's a little spicy shout. Manchester Tyrants play Hallam that day. I'm just putting out there.
Potentially.
Just putting out there.
It's out there. It's out there. But yeah, I've got Cardiff. Conor, what are you thinking?
Birmingham
Don't do
haven't
it.
had a good season, but I still think they win this game.
Okay.
They are still a powerhouse.
Thank
they are.
Thank God that someone has picked Birmingham, because if we all pick Cardiff, we might have to shut the show down. Leeds Beckett versus Newcastle. It's going to be one for the Brotherhood. I'm going with Carnegie.
Here's a genuine question. I know this is a thing. Where do Beckett stand in terms of winning or losing that division?
Nottingham. I believe Nottingham have it. Have it. Unless they lose out, which they aren't going to do.
So if I'm Beckett, I'm resting as many players as I can.
Understandable.
Because they've both lost one.
So I wouldn't be surprised if this is close or Newcastle take it.
Dylan, it's based on SJ telling me, and I trust SJ. That's it. I trust SJ. There you go. That's the end of the That's the end of that particular conversation. I trust SJ. If SJ tells me that SJ could tell me the moon is made of cheese, I'd probably believe him. So we're going to go on to the ones I've missed. Swansea versus Bournemouth. It's Bournemouth. There. Yeah. Dylan is frozen. I'm assuming he's picking Bournemouth. He's back. I'm picking Bournemouth. Simple as. There you go. This very knowledgeable gentleman, I don't know him, head to head, and they've won by more points. There you go. Simple as. So Bournemouth. Sheffield versus the Sheffield Sabres versus the Manchester Metropolitan Eagles. I can't like that scoreline for Manchester Metropolitan against the best team in that division. It's Manchester Metropolitan for me. They've put on a performance. They've as far as I'm
going
concerned,
out
like I don't know how Conor feels. Obviously, it's different because he's very much internal to that program. I've got to like that's momentum. That as far as I'm concerned, that's when I look at it, that's momentum for Manchester Metropolitan. It's the Sabres. Sorry, it's Manchester Metropolitan. I'm picking them easy.
Thank you very much.
I'm joining you. I'm you.
Yeah. Well, so straight flush on Manchester Metropolitan Eagles because I don't have to ask Conor. Coventry versus NTU. NTU all day.
Yep.
Yeah, the number 1 ranked Leeds Griffins versus Northumbria. It's Leeds.
Leeds. Dylan's gone.
NTU.
Dylan will send me his picks. Oh, he's back. Is he back? I can just see. Hello. You picked on me for having Wi-Fi issues, you little nerd. Manchester versus LJMU.
Leeds.
This is a genuine coin toss. Like
Yes,
a
100%.
genuine coin toss.
100%.
I'm gonna pick LJMU. Just.
I'm thinking that as well. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, like if Dylan craps out, we'll get his picks later on. QMBL versus Kent. This one's difficult as well, especially considering that Essex Kent loss that came out of nowhere. Essex won that, by the way. I'm sure we'll talk about it with SJ next week. It seems that as though Imperial are now in the sort of relegation conversation, which I think is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
But I'm going Kent. Kent have really impressed me this season, and even though they had a loss to Essex, I can't see it going any other way than Kent's.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Now, this one might give you a heart attack, Dylan. Glasgow Uni Tigers versus the Hull Sharks.
Glasgow.
Oh,
we're doing it again.
Tough.
It's tough.
The thing is, Glasgow always play a tight game, but they're yet to really. They've not had many sort of failures on it. They play a good defense and just a disgusting run. I think it's in Glasgow, if I remember. I'll double check.
If you tell me it's in Glasgow, right? Glasgow.
It's the most disgusting astroturf, like sandy.
It's sand-based. It's a sand-based.
It's horrendous,
basically, isn't it? Yeah.
And they play this like running brute ball.
Yeah,
game,
they play.
Like,
they play under center 2-back stuff. It's yeah. They've run it for years. They've literally run the same thing for years.
Okay, Oxford versus Royal Holloway. I've got the Bears. Royal Holloway.
Bears.
Now, this is a big one. If Bradford and Liverpool wasn't game of the week, this one would be. It's Portsmouth versus Hertfordshire 2. 2, ladies and gentlemen. Hertfordshire.
Yeah.
Hertfordshire. Sorry to the people over at Destroyers, but if I pick against you, that's normally a good thing. Go on.
Before we keep you opened this segment by saying that the week's game slate isn't very good, and yet we spent the last 10 minutes bigging up every game as like a coin toss when we've ever spoken about it.
Shut up. You're right, but shut up. Loughborough versus Staffordshire. It's Loughborough. All day.
Yeah.
Loughborough.
Essex versus Imperial. This isn't. Oh fuck! It's another one. It's new. Essex. This is an interesting coin flip game. Oh, Essex. I think.
Essex, definitely.
Yeah, they beat Kent. Kent are good. Essex. I can't believe that. I'm picking Essex. Sorry, Essex Blades, but I'm sorry. On to God's Division. Division 2. Is it Exeter versus Southampton as well? Well,
yes.
Thank you very much, Nathan, for that. Grand Griffins play Edinburgh this week after a reschedule. Oh, Christ. It's not Hull. Damn, people not updating us. Damn.
What do you mean Hull?
I mean,
Hull playing Glasgow.
The outcome's still the same, so it doesn't change anything. But
yeah, I'm still picking Leeds, Conor.
Yeah.
Sorry. So Nathan, thank you for filling us in. Exeter versus Southampton. Exeter are on a roll. They're on a roll. So we're going to start with one I have missed as well. Red Hawks versus Reading. If I knew this one was on, potentially may have been game of the week. But I've committed now. I've committed. I've got to send love to the boys over at Reading. They have made, again, more so than the Bournemouth Uni Bobcats. They've made me eat my words. I don't think that will, because they know that if they win this, they win the league. Red Hawks are a really good team, but I think Reading know what they're playing for. To be fair, Red Hawks could still take it. This is going to be a big, big game. I might have to change game of the week. Sorry, Bradford. I'm going to have to change it, aren't I?
Yeah, you are. I think now. You've talked yourself into it, so you're going to have to. It's a big one, but I can't see anybody stopping Reading. I really can't.
Reading.
Talk amongst yourselves as I change the game day schedule, the game of the week schedule.
Is that
no, I'm not joking.
Jumper Tebbs?
No, you are actually. No. You are actually doing.
Yeah,
that.
I'm not joking. Yeah. Genuinely talk amongst yourselves.
To
be fair, we
rough, Conor. You got anything?
Given the kind of, we've been chatting about it anyway, and I'm just gonna ask this as kind of an open question. A lot of draws this week. There's been a fair few draws this year. Do we need to bring back some form of overtime?
Yes, we do. I don't know why they got rid of it.
Can we get serious here? Like, it doesn't need to be ridiculous. It can still be college style, and you can still have a maximum time limit on it.
You say that until you're away at Glasgow on a sand-based Astro, and it's -3, and then it's like you've played the hardest run game of your life.
Yeah, but then you've still got a chance to go and win the damn game.
Yeah, sorry, Dylan. I don't agree with you on that. Like, if
it doesn't go on and on, you can have a maximum. You can have a maximum of 4 possessions per team, and if it keeps going, then it does end the draw.
Like look at those 0-0s. And also, I don't know how it works for you, but I know for us, like the pitch gets booked for 4 hours. We get like an hour of warm-ups, and then bang, and the game takes 2.5 plus.
But we get. You get games getting called for stuff like that all the time. You get games getting called for light at various points, especially on the grass pitches that don't have any light. If they're later on, like that happens anyway. Adding an overtime provision just so that some of these games don't end in a draw won't change that.
But what happens if your pitch has been booked up? Do you then lose a walkover?
No, it just ends in a draw. If a game has a time limit,
so you can refuse to play it, or just if it's unable to be played, if it's voided.
No, if you can't play, if you can't finish, you can't go to overtime because you're being kicked off the damn pitch, it just goes down as a draw.
See what you mean?
All I'm trying to do is you need to put in a provision to stop as many draws happening as are happening.
Especially when there are teams that have two draws, like that's just mad.
Yeah. Sheffield, Sabres, and now have 2 draws, an 18 all, and a 0-0.
Does SJ know how the maths on that works with stuff like the Midlands, where Nottingham Green and
it's just points. It's just points.
It's still on points.
Yeah, so it would go to.
He's it.
No, don't do it. Don't do it because we can do that next week.
Don't do it because I want to go. I want to go out. Can we?
You asked me if I can go on a segue, so
no. I said talk amongst yourselves, not discuss a relevant point that needs a longer discussion.
I'm very sorry.
York versus UClan. York.
Yeah.
York.
It will be tight, but York.
Yeah, 100%. Leicester versus DMU. It's the Longhorns.
Leicester.
Rock DMU.
UCL versus UEL. UCL, another team that is giving me thoughts in my brain about where to put them. Are they there?
UCL.
Yeah, UCL.
York St John versus Edge Hill.
Edge Hill.
Yeah, Edge Hill.
Liverpool versus... Bro, we've already done that one. UWS versus Aberdeen. Keep the balls charging. It's Aberdeen.
Aberdeen. I think UWS did play a full game last week.
They did
Wait,
against
they played
Teesside.
Teesside.
Yeah.
14-0 to Teesside. Good
Fair
on them.
play to Teesside, made a journey.
Yep. Brilliant. Surrey versus Chichester. Surrey.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I've gone Chichester.
Yeah, fine.
Sorry.
Now, Ryan Cummings has got an interesting take about this one. Our guest last week, the quarterbacks coach for the Leicester Longhorns. It's Derby versus Lincoln. Ryan Cummings is thinking a draw. And don't get Dylan started because he's getting frisky with these draws now.
I've already said I'm tempted by a draw. York Lancaster, I won't lie. But
Derby.
Well, York,
Derby.
Derby. Kingston versus Canterbury. Kingston.
Yeah, up the Cougars.
OBU versus Brighton. That's a good match. That's a good match. That's a
Tebbs, you really screwed it with the at the top. This isn't a very good split.
Yeah.
There are a lot
I
of
did,
good
didn't
games
I?
this week.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, I don't know.
I think I have to go OBU,
Brighton.
but you're right. It's tight.
I'm gonna go with Brighton. I think.
Yeah, I'm going OBU.
Brighton.
So.
No,
and
every
then
time Conor goes by himself, he gets it right, and we hear about it.
that is true. We do.
I lost both of my outrights last week, so no.
That's true. We do.
Oh, they were just stupid. That's not on us.
And then Gloucestershire Gladiators versus the Worcester Royals. Well, you two go first. I'll go last. So my pick for this game is
You're right. You have a moment.
Huh? Yeah. What I did was I was trying to do the funny gimmick where I muted myself as I give my answer, but then I forget that I've got my laptop controlling all the production stuff, and then my phone
You might
as the
actually
camera.
end the stream.
No. Is that I was trying to do that, but then I remember that because my phone's by camera. By clicking the mute button on my computer, it the joke didn't work.
Nice.
So on that, ladies and gentlemen, on that spectacular display of technical ineptitude from me, we are going to we will see you. Actually, we're not going to see you same time next week. We're going to see you earlier. We're going to see you a little bit earlier. We're going to say provisionally for now 7:30. But it could be earlier than that because the playoffs are a complex beast. We're going to be joined by SJ, the man with a big brain. He's got all the pipes feeding into his brain, these playoff scenarios. He will be on to sort of divulge who he thinks is going to be in the playoffs as we approach them rapidly. And then we will also be joined by the OC of this poor man right here. Just to discuss how does this man do things? Poorly is the answer. Get ready for a spicy Dylan Jones roast next week because I can feel it coming.
Can we mute him through the whole thing so he can't interject?
Of course we can.
/leave.
Of course we can. We might bring in Lindsay as well, just as. All angles.
Just really go for
all
it.
Angles.
Yeah.
All angles. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, if you are playing this week, good luck. Stay in good health. God bless the rest. And we will see you here slightly earlier at potentially 7:30, maybe even earlier than that. Next week on the rundown. Thank you very much to Coach Rains for coming on and say goodbye, guys. I've said this last week. I never really let you say goodbye, so do it again.
See you next week if I can face it.
Say goodbye, Conor. You're holding up the stream. There we go. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Bye. I've got